NASCAR is fast, it's fierce, and sometimes it's downright terrifying. Today we're diving into 10 of the wildest, most unforgettable crashes in NASCAR Cup Series history. These aren't just minor spins or multi-car pileups. They're the jaw-dropping, career-defining, safety-changing wrecks that still get replayed decades later. Let's count them down, from number 10 to number 1. Number 10. Ricky Rudd at Atlanta, 1990. This one isn't about wild flips or on-track chaos. It's about a pit road moment that turned deadly. During the 1990 race at Atlanta, Ricky Rudd came sliding onto pit road after contact on track. His brakes locked up and he lost control, plowing straight into Bill Elliott's pit crew. In a terrifying and tragic instant, crew member Mike Rich was pinned between two cars. He later died from his injuries. It was one of the most heartbreaking moments in NASCAR history and served as a wake-up call for pit road safety. The tragedy led to strict pit road speed limits and major safety overhauls for crew members, helmets, fire suits, and better pit lane protocols. It wasn't just a crash, it was a turning point that reminded everyone that danger doesn't end when the car leaves the track. Number 9. Elliott Sadler at Talladega, 2003. Elliott Sadler didn't just flip once at Talladega, he flipped twice, in the same crash. After getting turned in the pack, Sadler's car went airborne and began to barrel roll down the banking. As if that wasn't enough, it hit the infield and launched again, spinning like a skipping stone across the grass. It was one of those crashes that just kept going, and going, and going. Thankfully, Sadler walked away unharmed. But the footage lives on as one of the most bizarre and violent sequences in Cup history. Number 8. Ryan Newman at Daytona, 2020. You remember where you were for this one. On the final lap of the 2020 Daytona 500, Ryan Newman was leading, just a few hundred yards from victory. Then came the chaos. Newman was turned, his car slammed head-on into the wall, flipped into the air, and was then hit in the driver's side at full speed by Corey LaJoie. The impact was brutal. The car slid on its roof in a shower of sparks. Emergency crews rushed in. For a moment, it felt like the worst was happening again. Miraculously, Newman survived. Not only that, he walked out of the hospital 2 days later with his daughters by his side and returned to racing that same year, a testament to modern NASCAR safety. Number 7. Ken Schrader at Talladega, 1993. If you ever wondered how a car could literally leave the racetrack, here's your answer. During the 1993 race at Talladega, Ken Schrader got caught up in a pack crash. His car shot up the banking, made contact, and launched completely over the outside wall. It tumbled down an embankment and landed outside the track, near a service road. Schrader somehow walked away. But the image of a Cup car flying out of the stadium forced NASCAR to raise the outside walls at Talladega. Because if that wreck had happened just a few feet differently, it could have been tragic. Number 6. Jimmy Horton at Talladega, 1993. And just to prove how wild Talladega was that year, Ken Schrader wasn't the only one who went flying out. Earlier in the same race, Jimmy Horton was launched over the wall in a separate incident, after a tap from Sterling Marlin. Horton's car flew off the track and tumbled violently down the embankment. This crash also led to safety changes at superspeedways. It was one of the rare times in NASCAR history that 2 different drivers flew out of the track in the same race. Number 5. Richard Petty at Daytona, 1988. Even legends aren't immune to disaster. In 1988, the King Richard Petty got clipped and sent flying down the Daytona front stretch. His car went airborne and rolled at least 8 times, shedding parts with every bounce. It was a violent, chaotic wreck that looked worse with every slow-motion replay. Petty, being the Iron Man that he was, climbed out under his own power. But this crash helped push for better aerodynamics and the eventual implementation of roof flaps to keep cars grounded. Number 4. Steve Park at Pocono, 2002. Not all terrifying crashes happen under green flag conditions. During the 2002 race at Pocono, Steve Park was under caution when his car suddenly darted left and slammed into the inside wall at full speed. It was a bizarre and horrifying incident that nearly ended his career. The crash happened because of a freak mechanical failure combined with a push from Rusty Wallace, catching Park completely off guard. He suffered serious injuries and never fully returned to his previous form. A reminder that in NASCAR, even slow laps can turn deadly. Number 3. Bobby Allison at Talladega, 1987. The crash that changed superspeedway racing forever. On a high-speed run down the front stretch at Talladega, Bobby Allison's Buick blew a tire, got sideways, and lifted into the air. The car flew into the catch fence at over 200 miles per hour, tearing it apart and nearly flying into the grandstands. It was terrifying. Debris rained down on fans. The fence barely held. It could have been a mass tragedy. This crash is the reason NASCAR introduced restrictor plates at Daytona and Talladega to keep speeds under control and cars on the ground. Number 2. Carl Edwards at Talladega, 2009. Final lap, checkered flag in sight. What could go wrong? Carl Edwards was blocking Brad Keselowski for the win at Talladega in 2009 when he got turned and launched straight into the catch fence. The car exploded into pieces mid-air. A tire flew off. Parts of the suspension and sheet metal were sent into the stands. Several fans were injured by debris. And in one of the most surreal moments in NASCAR history, Edwards climbed out of the wreckage and ran across the finish line on foot in a move straight out of Talladega Nights. NASCAR changed its overtime rules and blocking policies after this one. Number 1. Dale Earnhardt Sr. at Daytona, 2001. This is the crash that needs no dramatization. It's the one that changed everything. On the last lap of the 2001 Daytona 500, Dale Earnhardt was running third, protecting his 2 DEI cars up front, Michael Waltrip and Dale Jr. Going into turn 4, he got caught in a 3-wide battle, was tapped by Sterling Marlin, and hit the wall at just the wrong angle, head-on at nearly 160 miles per hour. It didn't look that violent on TV, but it was fatal. Earnhardt's death was a gut punch to the sport. It led to a massive overhaul in safety. The HANS device became mandatory. Safer barriers were added to nearly every track, and the car of tomorrow was born out of a desire to never lose another driver again. His crash is the reason today's drivers, guys like Ryan Newman, are able to survive wrecks that would have been fatal years ago. And there you have it, 10 of the wildest, most unforgettable crashes in NASCAR Cup Series history. Some were horrifying, some were historic, but all of them left a mark on the sport we love. If you've got a favorite, or one you think should have made the list, drop it in the comments. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more wild moments from NASCAR's past, present, and future. Until next time, keep it off the wall, unless you're doing it for the win.